So continuing on my quest here to try out new decks, today we're playing Egg Portal, which seems to be one of the bigger winners, with Beelzebub's effect being very good for this deck. Today I have two decks for you, which I will talk about in a bit, but yeah, I have two variants of Evo Portal, so it might end up being a longer video, but hopefully it can showcase two different builds and their strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, let's look at the deck list we are playing for today first. So first deck list I have for you today is a pretty standard Egg Portal list. The main points are, I guess, using these early game puppet followers, and then running the Sylvia, and then I run Chaos Legion. Most people are running Odin right now. Personally, I like Chaos Legion because Odin gets in the way of Lyria's search, but yeah, Odin gives you a better way to convert your your Evo points into damage, so you might consider running Odin over Chaos Legion. Other than that, the I guess unusual pick here is Devotee of Destruction. I just found that this deck runs out of ways to pop eggs without Evo points, so I just ran one copy of Devotee of Destruction to pair with Exia on your burst turn. It's sort of like a fourth copy of Congregant if you think about it that way. It's also a nice ward against Albert because Sword is one of the stronger decks right now. So yeah, you will notice in the games, instead of Sylvia, I'm running Puppet Theater. The idea is to generate more puppets early game so that I can activate Congregant earlier to help deal with earlier strong boards, but Sylvia does more or less comparable things while healing you, so I figure Sylvia's probably just better. So yeah, and Sylvia's a better draw late game also because the Theater gets in the way a lot in the late game. So yeah, this is the list you're running. For the puppet side, I guess this is a more closer to the standard egg list that you'll find floating around, I guess. The other list I have for you today, if you can go over here, is an Evo engine based one. You can see instead of puppet, we swapped out some early game cards. We are running Vern and Tsubasa for your Super Skybound arts. And then we are the rest is just Skybound art. I guess we're running the Sandalphon as an extra addition for his Skybound art as well. Personally, I like this list more, and it's done a little bit better for me, so I'm more partial to this list, but most of the list I'm seeing right now is the puppet variant, so I'm wondering if this is just like sort of anecdotal evidence and not particularly reliable. Anyway, the point is that this list may not be fully cooked, so if you use it at your own risk. It might be just worse, depending, but either way, I just like that this one has more new cards in it, also having Sandalphon and actively having ways to reduce Chaos Legion Skybound art. Gives you better reach, especially if you don't manage to get Beelzebub active. And also with two Beelzebub, Sandalphon is 20 damage, which is also very funny. So yeah, this is the two lists we'll be playing. So let's look at some games. We'll start with the more standard variant first. Our first game here is against Abyss. Usually I just like Lishana, and once I find Lishana or her 2-cost spell, I just start picking early game cards, so you need to help contest board early game. Like previous lists, you still do want to try to tempo a bit, even though Beelzebub gives you much better reach. It's still safer to chip damage while you can. And we see Shamnacha, so this is going to be mode Haven. Mode Abyss. Against mode Abyss, I've heard some mode Abyss players saying that this matchup is sort of favored in mode Abyss's favor, but I found that at least at the level that I'm playing at, which was Master Diamond when I recorded this game, I found that the mode Abyss players tend to play quite passively, which allows me to sort of get to our late game and just win the game off that. Our biggest threat is Insetsu probably, and also if they go for an aggressive early game, which in this case my opponent didn't do, which is good for me because this deck's weakest is definitely their early game. Once you get in the late game, well, you do have better late game options, but with this hand we're not that strong in the late game either, so I guess it's a bit of a toss up there. Anyway, my opponent drops the Congregant here, which is fine. They evolve here. I'm not sure if they're running any Skybound art cards, but probably it's just to keep two bodies on board just to annoy me. We do have a bunch of puppets though, so it's not really much of a threat really. Just go ahead and use a second Lishana. As usual, getting eggs on board is the most valuable and important step of this deck. If you don't get eggs, you just can't play the deck, so yeah, anyway, we go ahead and get rid of this Congregant and start shitting out these puppet theaters, I guess. We don't really want them in the late game because they will clog up your board, so we just convert them to puppets as soon as we can. So there is the devotee of entwining here, which they will use to get their mode count up. You can see they're doing quite well. They're already at 8, so they will probably expect like a decent likelihood of Shamnasha coming down next turn. Anyway, we just want to deal with this devotee for now, so we go ahead and do that. And we go ahead and use the soprano as well to get another egg on board. When you can, it's nice to sync up your eggs. It's not like an end-all be-all, like you have to do it, but like if you can and you can afford to, you might as well sync up the eggs. It makes your burst and healing easier to track, in my opinion. Here's the Runa and Vulneric. At this point, Mo Abyss will start playing out some like big boards that we have to answer, so that's the game plan now, I guess. Go ahead and drop this enhanced Puppet Lancer here. You can use Melodious Melody to get rid, well, not get rid. We can command her Puppet to get rid. Or we can use Stonebreaker. Sorry, it's been a while since I played this game, so I might not remember super clearly. Anyway, we can use Stonebreaker to clear it nicely. We have a bunch of puppets in hand. We have Lyria to draw our Beelzebub. Fortunately, my opponent took this as like a sort of rest turn and they didn't really play that many followers, so we can go ahead and take some time to chill, I guess. Fortunately, no Congregate in hand. Congregate is very vital to this deck's ability to survive because it's our more or less only bot clear. You can see I have a ton of Devastating Surprise, which is not very useful. So we go ahead and use those puppets to clear some followers, and then we just super evolve Exia here. And we can go ahead and trade as well, just to put them low, I guess. It's worth noting that I could have played some Devastating Sopranos before super evolving Exia and overflow the eggs on purpose so I don't clog my board. And also, I guess bottom line for playing egg portal, never go more than 3 eggs. You will, like most of the time, you will just lose if you summon that many eggs. So just don't. And this time we just want to use our Beelzebub here to just get rid of some followers. My opponent's out of Evo points, which is quite good for me. When super evolve him, they don't have that many. I guess if they're playing Death Slash, I think some people are cutting Death Slash right now. Otherwise, it's probably going to be Ginsetsu and Yuzuki. It's fine. If you count my opponent's damage, they actually have 16 damage on board here. If they have... As you can see, I have no good ways to clear their board right now, which is definitely very concerning. So, our best bet is the board lock here. Of course, if they have Rage of the Serpent, then we just die, but that's more or less their only out, so... we just bank on the fact that they don't have that. We go ahead and draw into our deck here. And then I just got done saying you don't go full egg. In this case, it's fine because we are planning to use Gilnalis plus spell next turn. So here we just pray they don't have the last bit of reach they need for that one damage. And thankfully they don't. So our board lock is successful. We can pop our eggs here. A bunch of pings, and then we can go ahead and use Gilnalis. Just in time, I guess we managed to survive long enough to pick up her spell, so we can go ahead and use Sweetness of Veracity, 6 damage face, and then we can finish them off with our last Devastating Soprano to pop a black egg for the last ping damage. That's it for this game. So our next game here is against Haven. At this point, all the games will be with the new Grand Blue Fantasy collab board because I love the BGM for this board. So until I get bored of it, every match I play will be on this board. Get it, board. Anyway, we just look for eggs against Haven. Well, Ward Haven is like a little bit popular right now, so you might consider keeping some early game followers like UD. But for the most part, finding eggs should be our most consistent out. Unfortunately, I guess fortunately for me, my opponent didn't have Grimnir here, so we can go ahead and just start pressuring them on board. Unfortunately, they do have a Blinding Faith here, so there goes our board, which is not ideal, but it's not the worst either. We do have a bunch of egg generators, which is mainly what we want in this matchup. Also, if you're playing Devotee, this is probably pure Crest. Congregant is a good answer for Aether, but you will also note that without enough like things on board, your Aether won't actually be that effective at answering I mean, your Conqueror won't be that effective at answering Aether. In this case, we do have a bunch of egg summoning, so we're not that worried, but they're not even playing the version that runs Aether probably, so that's not really a concern in this case. Anyway, for Crest Haven, I think this deck is actually quite favorite thanks to Builds About being obscene with how much consistent damage it outputs, so we are relatively advantaged in that way. We have to play a careful early game and not commit too many resources, and we should be able to outlast and eventually just burst them to death. So there's the Wilbert, which is fine. They don't have Grimnir Crest, but it honestly doesn't matter that much in this matchup specifically because we don't have that much board space for followers anyway, so the Grimnir Crest will not really end up mattering. Go ahead and pop the Wilbert. This is a bit of a weird play, but we just leave these alive. One, to save Evo points and resources in general, and two, in case they are running Aether, we want to like sort of hurt the value of that Aether by not giving them the full board to buff. And hopefully we can buff that, we can instead bait them into playing Aether and buff these, and then we can drop Conqueror Gun, but that didn't even happen, so I guess that's fine there. Okay, go ahead and Super Evolve UD here, just to get a Crest to like get some consistent healing going, just to annoy my opponent, I suppose. You can use the Stonebreaker to get rid of those followers and just pass here. It's also a follower they sort of have to answer if they want to get their Firewind Crest to go face. They just drop Conquer Guns here, so it's not really much of a problem for them, I suppose. So we just sort of chill here. We don't have Builds About, unfortunately. The problem with Lyria is that Lyria's great going first for guaranteeing Builds About, but when you're going second, it doesn't really work because you want the coin Builds About on turn 8 anyway, so there's that to keep in mind. You can, but I think most people are running 3 Lyria, 2 Builds About as a more safe ratio because Builds About will tend to brick you, while Lyria can be converted into Devastating Soprano or can be used alongside Exia on your burst turns, even if you don't use her to drop Builds About. Anyway, we have free reign to drop Builds About here, so we are gonna do that. And these eggs will start hurting a lot now that Builds About is on the board. And it will only happen worse if I draw the second one, which not yet though. My opponent is starting to heal out and protect their face now, and we take a bunch of damage here, and you can see we have no Gilnelis, which is a bit scary, but Haven's damage is relatively telegraphed, so we're not super worried yet. We pick out another Lyria here, which is very nice. We can go ahead and get the Builds About out here and just drop it again. We're not super worried because even with the Vessel plus the 4-cost Amulet, that's the maximum of 8 damage, which means we will survive no matter what, so we're not really in any threat of dying right now, so we just don't worry about it. So now that we have Builds About Crest active, more or less anything we do will kill them, so we just go ahead and use Conquer Gun to pop a bunch of eggs here. Unfortunately, my opponent had just enough followers that Conquer Gun would have full cleared. The problem with using Conquer Gun to pop eggs, which is another thing I don't like, is that the Conquer Gun will destroy followers, which means you lose the super evil ping. Yeah, that's it for this game. Let's move on to the next one. So our next game here is going to be against Abyss again. This time we are playing the Evo variant just because I wanted to showcase both decks, and this is my personal favorite of the two, so yeah. This goes Lilith. It's Abyss again, but this is a different Abyss deck, so you can let me off on that front. This looks like it's gonna be Evo with this Lilith here. Go ahead and coin out the Lyria because we want to sort of annoy them on board. And they just dropped the bat here, which I guess is fine for them. We're gonna go ahead and drop a Puppeteer here and just get rid of this bat while we poke them in the face. Poking them in the face has more value with this deck in the sense that if you activate Sandalphon, even with worst case, even if without Builds About, you can still find lethals. Just Sandalphon's 10 damage burst plus Grand Angita to clear board. Standard neutral combo that every deck can use, the Grand Angita plus Sandalphon combo, so definitely keep track of that. Even our opponent drops the Supplicant here, which is fine. We're just gonna go ahead and evolve Lishana and get out Egg on board because that is what this deck is meant to do. We try our best to conserve Vern and Grand Angita because this Portal doesn't actually have that many that many free evolve effects. So you want to take these, you want to treasure these effects as much as we can, you know. We got a Wasteland here. We go ahead and drop to find more egg generators, hopefully. Did not manage to do it. We'll drop the Love Struck Puppeteer here and just go ahead and use that to get rid of their followers. And then we go ahead and use Melodious Monody to pop our Amulet here to draw into our deck. And we go ahead and evolve Lyria. You can consider leaving the Wasteland of Destruction on board, but as you can see, I have no ways to pop it like manually in my hand right now, so I thought it was a bit risky to not pop it right now, so I go ahead and just do that. My opponents evolve Bat plus their Elmedia here. Go ahead and take some tempo with these followers on board for them. We'll pick out Xenophon here. We only have 2 Xenophons. It's probably fine because we don't invoke Xenophon like at any speed that actually matters anyway, so yeah, we'll go ahead and play 2 Verns to sell Grand and Jita Skybound Art, as well as just Xenophon Skybound Art, I guess. We want to conserve our Evo points because Exia is still our biggest damage dealer in this deck. Well, other than Xenophon, I guess. But yeah, we still want to conserve our Evo points while we can. Build up here is very nice because we can coin him next turn, so we'll go ahead and just draw into our deck here, Grand and Jita. And since we already have 2 builds up, we don't really, this Lyria is not super useful, so we just drum her as like a sort of follower to make my opponent uncomfortable, I guess. Arguably, you can save her for the lineup of like Lyria plus Exia plus the Congregant, which is something you can do with her since she effectively costs 1 if you're late enough in the game. So here we go ahead and follow our game plan. We do make sure to get rid of the last words effect on the 1-cost follower just to make sure that we deny them the bet. It's not gonna be super impactful, but it is still worth doing, I think. There's Medusa from my opponent, which will clear my Beelzebub, and they will start evolving phase here. A bit late for them to try to start taking tempo though. My Xenophon here. How is he doing? Already a Skybound Art. So this is... Unfortunately, I don't have a way to clear board while playing Xenophon. If not, this would have been lethal because Xenophon does 15 damage now with 1 Beelzebub. And now with the second one, you can see Xenophon is now 20 damage. So as long as their board is weak enough, we can just destroy their face with Xenophon. They line up a bunch of followers, but they are forced to trade like basically all of them in to get rid of my Beelzebub here. And they do manage to full heal, but they are just dead to Xenophon anyway because, I mean, that's the point of this deck, right? So use the Stonebreaker to clear, and then we can just drop the Xenophon for a nice 20 damage lethal. Now, our last game for today is against Sword. We're going for a 2-2 with each deck showcase, so it ends up being a lot of games, which makes this video long, but oh well. I mean, I just wanted to showcase what I've been playing. I spent a lot of time playing this deck to get games for it, so I kind of want to get value out of it, I guess, by making it long. Anyway, out comes the Flash deck Quick Blader, so we still don't know what sword this is because like every sword deck right now is running Quick Blader. Let's go ahead and answer if Love Struck Puppeteer so we don't take too much damage. My opponent coins out Tribulations, which means this is going to be loot, and thankfully the fact that they coined it out is a very low tempo play from them, so we actually have a very easy turn here, just dropping another Love Struck. Right now we are the ones advantaged in terms of tempo, so that's very nice. My opponent will go ahead and pop the lair, and then they will use it to fuel Returning Slash. That means that they have 1 necklace and 1 knife in their hand right now. You can continue to keep track if you want, if you think it's valuable, but... And it is valuable, don't get me wrong, it's just that I'm usually too lazy to because yeah, I'm not like that hardcore of a player. Which is not what you want to hear from like the person you're watching videos from maybe, but I mean, I just gotta be honest, you know. So you saw earlier, we just traded with the Puppeteer instead of using a puppet and going face or whatever. Just because at this point they have put themselves on a very low clock here with the tablet. So as long as they can outlast their, as long as we can outlast their damage, we are definitely our best served just trying to pace ourselves and just heal up and keep ourselves safe until they run out of resources and fail to get lethal. There's their Sincero here. They also have Vows which they play, and then a Supplicant as well. At this point, they're missing the boots and the goblet right now is what they're missing from Sincero. Go ahead and evolve another Lishana. We can use our puppet here because we have a bunch of eggs to fuel Congregant anyway. Loot Sword doesn't have that many big followers, or they don't have big followers that much, so it's not as important to preserve as many puppets as possible. Here they will go ahead and coin out their Augury Cap to clear the Shenna and poke me in the face. I think at this point they also realize that they are sort of like on the clock, so they have to try and do as much damage as we can. And here we be patient here. So I should explain this play, I suppose, because it looks like super wasteful, like we are spending a Congregant on one follower. So first of all, we need to be patient with Gilnalis, because if we heal up too much, these eggs healing actually become useless, because if we are still full, when they heal us, they do nothing. So we actually don't want to be too gung-ho with using Gilnalis until like we are sure that we can get more value and they're sort of in their damage dealing phase. And as for why we play Congregant here, we don't really need Congregant that badly in this matchup. So by playing here, we can pop our eggs and cycle our healing faster. So that's the idea, which is with why I just dropped Congregant here. So they will just knife me in the face here. Since there already has the knife in it, so they don't really have to care in that aspect, I guess. So go ahead and use Lyra to pick up Beelzebub. We don't really need him in this matchup though, so I like sort of fill out my board. Generally, you don't want to lock yourself like this. And we super evolve Lyra here. I guess I should explain this as well. So the idea is to get Skybound Art faster and to make it so that it's harder for them to board along this Lyra, because that's what people usually do. So we just super evolve her to annoy them. Honestly, I think I miscounted the Skybound Art count when I super evolved. I probably didn't have to do that here. If your opponent did go for the board lock here to Tentacle Bite, that's completely fine. We can go ahead and unlock ourselves with Melodious Melody. And once again, we just rotate our healing with the Congregant. Once again, we are board locked, but like, they can't lock this board if you count. We have Chaos Legion next turn active, so we can super evolve Congregant. This is a total of 10 damage, plus 2 more, and then plus another thing. So this is 18 damage we have, so they really can't board lock here. You can see them trying to find a solution. There's the Sincero here. They fuse the goblet, the boots that they got from the devotee here, which will allow them to clear my board as well as shoot some damage. They have no choice here because they lose if they can't kill me next turn, so they have no choice but to go Sincero here. Unfortunately for them, they are dead, so we don't even need to heal because they're just gonna die to Chaos Legion anyway. So yeah, as you can see, it's at 14 now, so I do have to evolve one more time. So that's what this is. It's not BM. I'm just trying to get Super Skybound active. So we go ahead and super evolve Gilnalis here, and then Chaos Legion for lethal. So those are all the games I have for you today. Hopefully they gave you some idea of how these decks works and how insane Beelzebub is for Egg Portal. So I will point out, when I was playing Egg Portal, the original one, which I probably should have started on that one, this Egg Portal. When I was playing this one, I went on a really bad lose streak earlier, and then I dropped the Sapphire. Part of it is probably just me being bad at the game, like I can't deny that, but also I just point out that Egg Portal isn't like, I wouldn't say it's like top tier. It has some good matchups against popular decks, but I don't really think the early game for this deck is super solved, because like the only new card we have for the early game right now is Stonebreaker if you draw it, and that's about it. I mean, Grand Jita kind of helps, I guess, but you still have no ways of like coming back from not having eggs, so that's still a problem. This deck, to a lesser extent, because we have things like Sandalphon which can deal good damage. Like even if you have 0 eggs, like if you manage to survive, of course, like if you have 0 eggs, you're probably dying anyway, but if you have 0 eggs but somehow manage to survive, you can still ingest off Beelzebub into Sandalphon. So I just like the agency. It also like gives you more things to do in the mid game, and it gives you more damaging options. Chaos Legion is also pretty solid for board clear, or yeah, I just prefer this version. I went on a pretty solid win streak, but I will point out that it is after I dropped the Sapphire playing the original egg, so take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, yeah, it's still early in the meta, so I don't quite know what's gonna be optimal, but this is the one that I've been enjoying, so yeah, play egg however you want. Anyway, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.